We have been talking about the power of a vision from this thought. If I don't know where I'm from, then I don't know who I am. And if I don't know who I am, I can't understand why I'm here. And if I can't understand why I'm here, then I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And if I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, then I really don't know where I am going. And we understand that this is the crisis and why so many people are angry, because they have been misguided and lost. But have you ever wondered how some people just seem to have it all going on? They just seem to, everything seems to be figured out. They seem to know where they're going. Everything seems to just work out for them. Well, it's because they are operating by some kingdom principles. They have a kingdom vision, which helps them to live the life that they love. You see, how you see yourself determines how you think, and how you think determines how you believe, and how you believe determines how you live. So I found out that some people have some secret keys of how they see themselves. Yes, some secrets that can change how you see, think, and believe. Secret keys that can unlock the doors to your destiny, to all your dreams, and all your hopes, and all you ever imagine. So I'm going to share with you some of these secret keys so they can help you unlock some doors as well. Secret key number 1, falling in love with God's presence. I pray that everyone has this experience, the encounter awakening. Yes, it started by knowing that God is real, this encounter awakening, and understanding his love. Yes, I remember the day that God rescued my life out of the kingdom of darkness and into the kingdom of his dear son. And I fell in love with his presence. And at first, I simply needed to know that God was real and that he was with me. He was walking with me and he existed, and that his heart towards me was not out of anger, but out of love, who gave his life in exchange for my life. Now, this secret, this truth broke through my guilt. It broke through the fear and brought me into relationship with him. And I fell in love with his presence. That's secret number 1. Secret number 2, the revelation of knowing God as Father, my Father. As my love deepened, I came to know God as my Father. This revelation showed me that I was not just forgiven, but adopted into the beloved kings. And I belonged, and I had a place in his household. Now, secret key number 3 is the main one that I want to talk about. This key can instantly change your life forever. The revelation of seeing God as Father King. See, I knew God as my Father, but when I began to see God not only as the Father, but as also as King, something changed in how I lived. I began to walk differently. I began to talk differently. I realized that my perspective of how I saw God as only my Father was limiting his authority as King to be activated in my life. I come to understand a king doesn't just love his children. He rules a kingdom. He provides for his citizens. And his reputation depends on how well he treats them, their well-being. So my Father is the King of Kings. That means that his resources are limitless and his authority is complete. Therefore, when I pray for provision, I'm not begging for scraps. I'm aligning myself with my royal inheritance. My needs are met, not by accident, but by my covenant rights. Now, this causes you to shift into secret key number 4. We're going to talk about this. The overflow mindset, living as an heir, seeing God as my Father King, shifted me from just having enough mindset to an overflow mindset. See, in the kingdom, there is no lack. My portion is only abundance, peace, and a purpose for life. As heirs, we represent the king's goodness on earth. And I'm confident that he provided because his name and reputation are revealed through how he sustains and blesses his children. So I don't have to worry. Then this is going to propel you into secret key number 5, the expectation of the kingdom living. Under a kingdom's provision, a good king ensures none of his subjects go without. My Father King ensures his children does not lack nothing. So I live now with the confidence and expectation that his provision is a part of his character. And not just something that I earn, but it's something that he delights in giving because of my birthright. So I guess that's why David said, "The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want." Secret key number 6, the power of one word. Provision. All you need is one word. When I was in search of my purpose, I'm hungry to know who I truly was and who God had called me to be. I prayed and I asked God for direction. And he answered me with one word: provision. And at first, I understood it in a simple way, that God will take care of my needs. But as I began to walk out that word, God began to unfold its deeper meaning. Yes, that one word became a living promise. Yes, it became the foundation of my purpose. And from that word, provision, I started our business, Provision DUI Treatment, a place dedicated to helping people rebuild their lives. And what I didn't realize then was I wasn't just running a business. I was walking out a king's decree. God has spoken provision not just to me, but over me. It wasn't until I came to understand God as my Father King that the full weight of that word became clear. See, when a king speaks, his words are law. His decrees are set in motion. When my Father King spoke provision into my life, he gave me everything that I would ever need, not piece by piece, but all at once, contained in that single word. That word carried purpose. That word carried resources. It carried favor, wisdom, and divine connection. Everything I needed to fulfill my assignment was already embedded in the king's decree. Now I understand that when the king speaks, creation has to respond. Doors have to open. Resources have to align with his words. Obstacles, they have to bow because his words carry authority, the authority of the throne. So when God gave me provision, he wasn't just promising to meet my needs. Yes, he was crowning me with purpose and commissioning me to walk in abundance as an heir of his kingdom. Oh my, that's good. Now, when you're seeing the scriptures now you can see them through the eyes of the heir, as an heir of the king. Now, this revelation unlocks the doors. So I've learned that the way you see God determines how you understand his word and determines how you think, believe, and live. So many people read the Bible through the lenses of religion or rules. And when I begin to see myself as an heir of the king, the entire Bible opened up in a clearer and richer way. So many scriptures suddenly made sense because the Bible is, in fact, a story of a king, his kingdom, and his royal family, all his children. God isn't just the creator of the universe. He is the King of Kings, Revelation 19:16. And we are his sons and daughters, heirs to his promises, and participants in his reign, Romans 8:17. When I started reading the word with the revelation that my father is a king and I'm an heir, the verses that I heard all my life took a deeper meaning. All my prayers took a deeper meaning. They began to see all my needs are met. And I began to look at what this prayer means. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Matthew 6:10. That isn't just a prayer. That is a royal declaration. It's the king's will being established in the territory of earth through his children, heirs of salvation. So that's why he tells us, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33. That's a secret key. That verse isn't just about chasing after blessings. It's about kingdom alignment. Secret key number 7. When we yield ourselves to the king's will and his kingdom order, everything we need has to yield to us. Let me say it again. When we yield ourselves to the king's will, to God's will, and his kingdom order, everything we need has to yield to us. Provision has to yield to me. Peace has to yield. My purpose has to yield because it's following an order, the obedience of the king. If things are not yielding to you, maybe it's because you're not yielding to the king. The more I began to yield to the Father King, the more I saw that lack and struggle were never meant to define my life. Yes. Secret key number 8, the revelation of the king's name representing his reputation. Now, when you have a kingdom perspective, you understand the king's reputation depends on how well he cares for his citizens. If the people prospered and were well protected and lived honorably, it made the king look good. It makes the king look great, and the king want to look good. So when I live with the mindset that I'm an heir and my father is the king, I no longer see the Bible as distant promises, but as my royal inheritance, sealed by the blood of the king and guaranteed by his name. So when you stand on his promises, you're not begging him to act. You're thanking him for who he is and what his name represents. This kingdom perspective causes you to become the person who can believe God for anything. When you understand the kingdom perspective and truly know that God is your father and your father is king, it changes everything about how you see life. And see, your perspective or how you see yourself shapes how you think. And your thinking shapes how you believe, your belief system. And your belief systems determines how you live. So if I see my father as the king, that means I'm royalty. And I don't have to put up with any limitations. There are no limitations because all things are possible in my life. So I can think like a king, believe like a king, and now I can have the abundance and walk in the abundance, not because I'm striving, but because I've inherited his nature and his provision. So when I think about something that I want to accomplish, I no longer ask, how will this happen? Instead, I ask, who must I become to walk in what's already been provided? Yes. See, the question is never about the difficulty of the task. It's about kingdom alignment. So never assign a level of difficulty to something before you take the first step. You need to ask yourself, who must I become to believe that I can take the first step? Because maybe God is waiting for you to become the king to take the first step so he can show you the next steps. See, we don't lack any potential. We often just lack awareness. Awareness of who we already are in Christ and the resources that already been provided through him. That's why it's so important to have a kingdom's minded vision. That's some secrets for you. Now you have to change your perspective to see, think, and believe like a king. In a kingdom, the king's name represents his reputation. You see, in the kingdoms in ancient time, everything that a king did, his laws, his citizens, his wealth, his armies reflected his name. If the people prospered and were protected, yes, it made the king look good. So if the people suffered and were defeated and lived corruptly, it made the king look weak or unjust. So when God is called king and his people are called his citizens, that means that we are embedded in his king's reputation is tied to his will and how well his kingdom operates, especially through us. You see, his reputation is tied to how well he leads his kingdom and how well he operates through us. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yes, Psalms 23:3. This means that God guides us to live right because his name and his reputation is represented through our lives. His promises reflect his character. So when God makes a promise, his name is on the line. And God's integrity is flawless. So when he say his name is at stake, it means that he will keep his word because breaking it would dishonor his own character. For example, if God promises to provide, that means he will, because his name Jehovah Jireh means that the Lord provides. If God promises to heal, that means he will heal, because his name Jehovah Rapha means the Lord heals. So when you stand on the promises of the Lord, you're not begging him to act. You're reminding yourself that he already acted. Yes, and what his name represents. So as the kingdom citizens, we carry his name. And when we say we belong to the kingdom of God, we carry the king's names, just like ambassadors carry the name of their country. That means that how we live, how we speak, and how we love represents the king's name. It represents him. That's why Jesus taught us how to pray. And you notice that he said, hallowed be thy name. Before he said, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And we have to pray his name. We're praying that his name and his nature and his authority and reputation be honored and revealed through our lives on earth as it is in heaven. So I come to find out that people who achieve great things don't just focus on how hard something might be. They live from the awareness that the king that lives within them, who holds all wisdom, who holds all the creativity, has all the answers. That's why it's so important to connect with people who believe God for the impossible. That's another secret key. See, their faith becomes a model, a mirror that reflects what's already possible for you. Yes, they don't wait for circumstances to be perfect. They simply decide and act and fully persuaded that the heavens is backing their obedience. So finally, this final thought that I had was, have you ever wondered why some people seem to always have it all going on? Everything seems to go right for them. It's simply because they know some secrets that you don't know. And when you understand the kingdom, you begin to understand your true identity. And from a kingdom perspective, I learned to see myself as a king. I learned to live and think and walk as a king and align myself with his original design. A king's power and authority are fully released only when he yields to the supreme king. And that revelation transformed my life. How you see yourself determines how you think. And how you think determines what you believe. And what you believe determines how you live. So I made up in my mind that I'm going to see like a king. I'm going to think like a king. And I'm going to believe like a king. So I can live the life I love like a king. When you change your perspective to seeing and thinking and believing like royalty in God's kingdom, your life opens up to the overflow, to the increase and the harvest that God designed for you. So think of it this way. If vision is a seed, then destiny is the harvest. Your vision plants your future. Your identity waters it. And your obedience to the king brings the harvest into your life. So if I want to live how a king lives, I'm going to seek his secrets. I'm going to model how he thinks. And then I can believe how he believes. Therefore, I have what he has. Now you have these secrets. There's not enough time to really explain them all. Yes. I'll try to put these on my website and the revelations of these that I learned from men of God and who have explained them thoroughly. And I'll try to place these keys in my course of Anger Ends Where Identity Begins, and which you can find by clicking the link below. So I encourage you to follow the kingdom models. Provision, we see beyond your limits. And with a kingdom vision, there are no limitations. Thank you. Be blessed. Peace out.